Code Section 410.8b prohibits the installation of electrical outlets within the defined storage space of a closet unless the outlet is located in the back wall or ceiling. Code Section 410.8c requires that at least one lighting outlet be installed in every closet larger than 22 square feet. Contractors have a professional and ethical obligation to ensure that their installations comply with applicable codes and standards. Intentionally violating code requirements, such as blanking off outlets, is unacceptable and undermines public safety. Inspectors are responsible for enforcing code requirements to protect the public. If an inspector discovers a closet light violation, they should require the contractor to correct the issue by relocating the light to a compliant location. Blanking off the outlet should not be considered an acceptable solution. Inspectors can use a range of enforcement measures, including firstly, issuing notices of violation, secondly, imposing fines, and thirdly, refusing to approve the inspection. Inspectors should emphasize the importance of closet lighting compliance during rough inspections. Contractors should be educated about the code requirement and the consequences of non-compliance. Inspectors could consider a two-strike policy, where a second violation results in more severe consequences. The practice of blanking off electrical outlets in closets to avoid moving non-compliant lights is an unacceptable practice that violates code requirements and compromises public safety. Inspectors have a responsibility to enforce the code and require contractors to correct these violations. Contractors should prioritize the safety and well-being of their customers by ensuring that their installations meet all applicable standards. Let's delve deeper into the specifics of Code Section 410.8. Understanding the defined storage space is crucial. This generally refers to the area within the closet where clothing, boxes, or other items are typically stored. The intent of 410.8b is to prevent flammable materials from coming into contact with electrical outlets, reducing the risk of fire. The placement of outlets in the back wall or ceiling is considered safer because these locations are less likely to be used for storage. Now, consider the requirements of 410.8c. The mandate for at least one lighting outlet in closets larger than 22 square feet acknowledges the need for adequate illumination. This requirement enhances safety by allowing occupants to clearly see the contents of the closet, preventing trips, falls, or accidental contact with stored items. It is important for contractors to correctly calculate the square footage of the closet to determine if this lighted outlet is necessary. Let's talk about contractor responsibilities in more detail. Beyond simply passing inspection, contractors have a moral and legal obligation to provide safe electrical installations. This includes not only adhering to the letter of the code but also understanding the underlying principles and intent. When a contractor chooses to blank off an outlet instead of properly relocating a non-compliant light, they are prioritizing convenience over safety. This creates a potentially hazardous situation for the homeowner, who may be unaware of the code violation and the associated risks. From the inspector's perspective, consistency in enforcement is paramount. If an inspector consistently allows contractors to blank off outlets as a workaround, it sends the message that code compliance is not a serious matter. This can lead to a decline in the overall quality of electrical work and an increase in safety hazards. The enforcement options available to inspectors provide a graduated approach to addressing code violations. A notice of violation serves as an initial warning, giving the contractor an opportunity to correct the issue. Imposing fines can be an effective deterrent, particularly for contractors who repeatedly violate the code. Refusing to approve the inspection is the most severe enforcement measure, as it can delay or prevent the completion of the project. Now let's explore some practical solutions for ensuring closet lighting compliance. During rough inspections, inspectors should proactively check the placement of electrical outlets and lighting fixtures in closets. This allows them to identify potential violations early on and provide guidance to the contractor. Contractors should invest in training and education to ensure that their employees are knowledgeable about the code requirements. This can help to prevent violations from occurring in the first place. Implementing a two-strike policy can provide a strong incentive for contractors to comply with the code. Under this policy, a first violation would result in a warning, while a second violation would trigger more severe consequences, such as a fine or a delay in project approval. Homeowners also play a role in ensuring closet lighting safety. Before hiring a contractor, homeowners should check their credentials and references. During the project, they should monitor the contractor's work and ask questions if they have any concerns. After the project is completed, they should have the electrical installation inspected to ensure that it meets code requirements. Blanking off electrical outlets as a way to avoid code compliance is simply not an acceptable practice. It is a short-sighted solution that puts the safety of occupants at risk. Inspectors, contractors, and homeowners all have a role to play in ensuring that closet lighting installations are safe and compliant with the code. By working together, we can create a safer environment for everyone. Thinking beyond closets, the principles of code compliance and ethical conduct apply to all aspects of electrical work. Contractors should always prioritize safety and quality over convenience and cost. Inspectors should consistently enforce the code and hold contractors accountable for their actions. Homeowners should be informed and engaged in the process, ensuring that their electrical installations meet all applicable standards. Let's consider some specific examples of closet lighting violations and how they can be addressed. For example, a closet has a light fixture installed with the bulb too close to the storage shelf. The inspector should require the contractor to relocate the fixture to a position where the bulb is at least 12 inches away from the shelf per code requirements. In another case, an outlet is installed inside the defined storage space, but not on the back wall or ceiling. The inspector should require the contractor to remove the outlet and install it in a compliant location, such as on an adjacent wall outside the closet. If a contractor installs a blank cover over an outlet inside the storage space instead of relocating it, the inspector should reject the installation and require the contractor to properly relocate the outlet. Remember, blanking off the outlet is not a solution. Inspectors should also be aware of any changes to the code and update their inspection practices accordingly. Regular training and education are essential for staying up to date on the latest requirements. From a broader perspective, the issue of closet lighting violations highlights the importance of a strong ethical culture within the electrical industry. Contractors should view code compliance not as a burden, but as a fundamental responsibility. They should take pride in their work and strive to provide safe and reliable electrical installations for their customers. Electrical inspectors should be independent and impartial, enforcing the code without fear or favor. They should be seen as protectors of public safety, not as obstacles to project completion. The collaborative approach between inspectors, contractors, and homeowners is essential for ensuring electrical safety. By working together, we can create a culture of compliance and prevent accidents before they happen. It's also important to note that electrical codes are constantly evolving to address new technologies and safety concerns. Contractors and inspectors must stay informed about these changes and adapt their practices accordingly. This requires a commitment to continuous learning and professional development. In the context of closet lighting, new technologies such as LED lighting have introduced new considerations. LED bulbs generate less heat than traditional incandescent bulbs, which may reduce the risk of fire in certain situations. However, it is still important to ensure that LED fixtures are installed in accordance with code requirements. Furthermore, the use of smart home technology and automation systems is becoming increasingly common. These systems often involve the installation of additional electrical components in closets, such as sensors and control modules. Contractors must be careful to ensure that these components are installed safely and in compliance with all applicable codes. Inspectors should pay particular attention to the wiring and grounding of these systems to prevent electrical hazards. Addressing the issue of closet lighting violations requires a multifaceted approach that includes education, enforcement, and collaboration. By working together, inspectors, contractors, and homeowners can create a safer environment for everyone. It is crucial to emphasize that blanking off electrical outlets in closets as a means of avoiding code compliance is never an acceptable solution. Contractors must take responsibility for properly relocating non-compliant lights and outlets to ensure the safety of occupants. The electrical code is in place for a reason, and it is the responsibility of everyone in the industry to uphold its standards. Let's shift the focus slightly to discuss the documentation of code violations. Inspectors should maintain accurate and detailed records of all violations they encounter. This documentation should include the date of the inspection, the specific code section that was violated, a description of the violation, and any corrective actions taken. These records can be used to track trends, identify problem areas, and evaluate the effectiveness of enforcement efforts. They can also be valuable in legal proceedings should they arise. The documentation should be readily accessible to relevant parties such as the building department and the electrical licensing board. Transparency in enforcement is essential for maintaining public trust and ensuring accountability. The process of enforcing closet lighting compliance should be fair and consistent. Inspectors should apply the same standards to all contractors and homeowners, regardless of their size or reputation. They should also be willing to listen to contractors' explanations and consider any mitigating circumstances. However, they should never compromise on safety. The ultimate goal is to protect the public from electrical hazards. In addition to enforcing code requirements, inspectors can also play a role in educating the public about electrical safety. They can provide information to homeowners about common electrical hazards and how to prevent them. They can also conduct outreach to schools and community groups to promote electrical safety awareness. Educating the public is an essential component of a comprehensive electrical safety program. A well-informed public is more likely to take precautions to protect themselves from electrical hazards. It is important for inspectors to communicate effectively with homeowners, contractors, and other stakeholders. They should be able to explain complex code requirements in a clear and concise manner. They should also be able to answer questions and address concerns. Effective communication is essential for building trust and fostering cooperation. Finally, it is important to recognize that electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Inspectors, contractors, homeowners, and the public all have a role to play in preventing electrical accidents. By working together, we can create a safer environment for everyone. The issue of closet lighting violations may seem like a small matter, but it is indicative of a larger problem. It highlights the importance of code compliance, ethical conduct, and a commitment to safety in the electrical industry. By addressing these issues head-on, we can improve the quality of electrical work and protect the public from harm. Let's further examine some of the specific challenges that inspectors face when enforcing closet lighting compliance. One challenge is the limited time available for inspections. Inspectors are often responsible for inspecting numerous projects, and they may not have enough time to thoroughly examine every aspect of each installation. This can make it difficult to detect subtle code violations. Another challenge is the lack of clear and consistent code interpretation. Different inspectors may interpret the code differently, leading to inconsistent enforcement. This can be frustrating for contractors who are trying to comply with the code. To address these challenges, building departments should provide inspectors with adequate resources and training. They should also develop clear and consistent code interpretations. This will help to ensure that the code is enforced fairly and effectively. Inspectors should also be empowered to use their professional judgment. While it is important to follow the code, inspectors should also be able to consider the specific circumstances of each situation and make decisions that are in the best interest of public safety. Now, let's turn our attention to the role of technology in improving closet lighting compliance. There are several technologies that can be used to assist inspectors in their work. For example, handheld devices can be used to access code information and documentation in the field. These devices can also be used to take photographs of code violations and generate inspection reports. Building Information Modeling, or BIM, is another technology that can be used to improve code compliance. BIM is a digital representation of a building that can be used to identify potential code violations during the design phase. This can help to prevent violations from occurring during construction. Drones can also be used to inspect electrical installations, particularly in hard-to-reach areas. Drones can be equipped with cameras and other sensors to detect code violations. By embracing technology, building departments can improve the efficiency and effectiveness of their inspection programs. This will help to ensure that electrical installations are safe and compliant with the code. Furthermore, we can talk about the liability issues that arise from closet lighting violations. If someone is injured as a result of a code violation, the contractor, the inspector, and the building owner may all be held liable. This underscores the importance of taking code compliance seriously. Contractors should carry adequate insurance to protect themselves from liability. Inspectors should follow established procedures and document their inspections thoroughly. Building owners should ensure that their electrical installations are properly maintained. By taking these precautions, we can reduce the risk of accidents and protect ourselves from liability. And let's also talk about the impact of closet lighting violations on property values. Code violations can negatively impact the value of a property. Potential buyers may be hesitant to purchase a property with known code violations. Code violations can also make it difficult to obtain insurance or financing. Therefore, it is important to ensure that all electrical installations are compliant with the code. This will help to maintain property values and protect homeowners' investments. Finally, let's consider the broader implications of closet lighting compliance for the overall safety of the built environment. By enforcing code requirements, we can create a safer environment for everyone. This includes not only preventing electrical accidents but also reducing the risk of fire and other hazards. A safe and compliant built environment is essential for the health and well-being of our communities. It is the responsibility of all stakeholders to work together to ensure that the built environment is safe and sustainable. In summary, addressing the issue of closet lighting violations requires a comprehensive and collaborative approach. Inspectors, contractors, homeowners, and the public all have a role to play in ensuring that electrical installations are safe and compliant with the code. By working together, we can create a safer environment for everyone. Blanking off electrical outlets in closets is never an acceptable solution. Contractors must take responsibility for properly relocating non-compliant lights and outlets to ensure the safety of occupants.